Look, rom-coms get a bad rap because there are so many bad rom-coms. That's why I'm going to help you sift through all the trash and bring you right to the top. These are the 12 best rom-coms. Love and basketball. You like basketball? You like falling in love? This movie's got them both, okay? I waited a very long time to see this film. It got me good. First of all, there's some Clipper representation. You gotta embrace any movie that supports the Clippers just a little bit and really is in that opening scene. Truly, this is a movie about passion and life and how things work out the way that you want and sometimes how you avoid those people in your life because you're too focused on your work. I think this movie holds up beautifully. Basketball playing moments don't look as good as the rest of the rom-com moments, but that final one-on-one basketball game, chef's kiss. Number 11, After Hours. Martin Scorsese in a straight-out comedy. We are talking Griffin Dunne at the height of his Griffin Dunne-ness. If you don't know Griffin Dunne, great character actor who actually played my dad on The League, but in this movie, he is a man who is being pulled through New York and like 80s New York, gritty, weird New York. You gotta talk about Rosanna Arquette. Rosanna Arquette is just this perfect, weird, arty New Yorker. This is a movie that not only captures a time in New York, but also is a movie that so many people have tried to recreate and never get quite right. Plus, there's a Cheech and Chong cameo. Number 10, Steven Soderbergh's Out of Sight. George Clooney, J-Lo, Cheadle, Ving Rhames, Albert Brooks, Steve Zahn. This movie is quite literally one of my favorite films of all time. It's a cop and robber falling in love movie. The trunk scene between J-Lo and George Clooney is absolute perfection. I wanted to see more of this character. They've tried to reboot Karen Sisco, that's J-Lo's character, a million times. It doesn't quite work. The chemistry here is great. The music, the soundtrack, just all beautifully done. This is at a point where both J-Lo and George Clooney are just kind of popping up, and you got to watch out for the Michael Keaton little callback to a character they played in another film. That other film, of course, was the Quentin Tarantino film, Jackie Brown. That's right. Ray Nicolette is in both. Michael Keaton. This is at a point where Michael Keaton wasn't really around that much. It's a great movie. Out of Sight. Get it, watch it, love it, watch it again and again and again. I mean, by the way, it's due for a reboot. I'm surprised no one's rebooted it. We have enough streamers to reboot this movie. Why haven't we rebooted it? Should I reboot it? Am I in it? Should I play the Steve Zahn part? I would love to. Number 9, and I'm biased, Long Shot, directed by Jonathan Levine, who directed Warm Bodies, 50-50, The Night Before Christmas. He is just showing everybody else how it's done. It's been a long time since a great rom-com has come out, and he put together two amazing stars, Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen, crush it in this film. I mean, it's about a politician who's looking to be a little bit more loose and a speechwriter who is trying to be true to himself but also needs cash. It's a great combination of two amazing actors. My wife is also in it. June Diane Raphael plays Charlize's press secretary, or like, I don't know if it's even a press secretary. It's more of that like right-hand man, the person like the whisperer, the bag man. Is it the bag man? Maybe that's actually Ravi Patel. Anyway, June is in it. I'm in it as a Fox News reporter. But this movie is hilariously funny and got shortchanged at the box office because of that Avengers movie. Now, I love Avengers, but this movie came out the week after the final Avengers movie. No one was seeing anything else but Avengers at that point. That was like when you would go to the theater and all 12 theaters were playing Avengers. But I guess it was like all 11 theaters were playing Avengers, and then like one theater was playing Long Shot, and that theater was empty. But the movie is great. It's grown in popularity since people have actually seen it. I wish more people saw it in the theater because the laughs in it are amazing. Number 8, we haven't said a movie with love in the title yet, and technically we're not doing that now, but we're coming close. Number 8, Tony Scott's True Romance. Quentin Tarantino wrote it, Christian Slater, and another Arquette, this time Patricia Bronson Pinchot from Perfect Strangers. I mean, this is the love boat of 90s casting. Brad Pitt as a stoner, Michael Rappaport as a bad actor. There are so many faces in this movie that you will just lose your shit on. I absolutely love this film. It, to me, feels very much like a Quentin Tarantino film and a Tony Scott film mixed, which it technically is, but I would put it in the pantheon of a Quentin Tarantino movie because it actually is so close to his voice. And I feel like that collaboration, I would have loved to have seen more of these two guys working together. True Romance, it's bloody, it's great. Christopher Walken doing an amazing scene opposite Dennis Hopper. That is just the tension in that. Absolutely amazing. And as a kid, it made comics cool. It made kung fu movies cool. Quentin Tarantino seeped into my veins through this movie. Number 7, Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What? Are you just adding like a black and white silent film so you can appear to be cool and like really well-rounded and not just a bunch of 90s movies? Yes, I am. No, but seriously, silent films are not really my thing. But this movie is actually really kind of wonderful. This isn't where I would often go, but it might be my favorite Charlie Chaplin film because it's really complete and beautiful. The story really pops. The love interest is amazing. And to convey all of these emotions silently, you gotta respect the art of it. And you know what? It's a little bit out of the blue, so I surprised you. I'm surprising myself. I'm sticking by it. Number 7, Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times. Number 6, the man, Reggie Hudlin. You know him as the director of House Party, the head of BET, a director of Black Monday, created, I think, one of the coolest Eddie Murphy movies ever, Boomerang. Eddie Murphy, we're used to him playing big characters, hilarious films, but this is a sexy movie. I mean, a straight up sexy, cool as shit Eddie Murphy movie that, wow. David Alan Grier, hilarious in this film. Robin Givens, just absolutely amazing. But to me, seeing this film, like, I got how Eddie Murphy was one of the funniest people ever. But here, I understood why everyone wanted to fuck Eddie Murphy. I mean, at the end of this movie, I want to fuck Eddie Murphy. I want to fuck everybody in this movie. This movie is hot. This movie is sexy. But it also is incredibly funny, too. Number 5, back on my 90s tip here. Grosse Point Blank, John Cusack, Minnie Driver. This movie. Again, I have a lot of rom-coms that involve guns. This movie involves guns. It's an assassin coming back to his hometown for a high school reunion, and people are out to kill him. Dan Aykroyd is the person out to kill him, and Dan Aykroyd, one of like the most like reserved Dan Aykroyd on-screen appearances. I mean, we're talking My Girl reserved, and he is great in it. I mean, I love John Cusack. I saw him take down that dude from Barstool Sports. But this is like, oh, we loved him in Say Anything, and now we want to see him in this. I feel like these Say Anything and this might be like the 2 perfect Cusack films. One of those movies that you can watch over and over again. I know it's like an 80s high school reunion movie. I'm not of the age where John Cusack is in this, but if you like Barry, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. I think Barry owes a little bit to what the DNA of Barry is to this film. This movie, oh, the best. Number 4, Paul Thomas Anderson, Punch Drunk Love. This is an odd one. I love Punch Drunk Love. I mean, I know it will be upsetting to people. Like, this is a movie that deals with rage. Like, this idea of hating yourself and not letting yourself be who you want to be. It's beautifully shot. Adam Sandler is, I mean, one of his best performances, I think, until Uncut Gems. This might be the best Adam Sandler performance. There are moments that I remember viscerally being uncomfortable watching, just Adam Sandler surrounded by his sisters, one of them played by Mary Lynn Ricecub, and him just being so mad at himself in a bathroom that he just beats the shit out of a bathroom. He's a man who sells toilet plungers. It's a beautiful look at like that side of LA that we don't often see, the over the hill, the in the valley. Also, Philip Seymour Hoffman as the Mattress King. I mean, that is injected into my veins. I want more of it. Number 3, Rob Reiner directing Nora Ephron's When Harry Met Sally. I do believe that this might be the best rom-com, but I'm putting it at 3 only because I feel like it's too white. I mean, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like it captures a moment in New York City and a moment in like white people culture so much that I don't think this movie maybe is as universal as I think it is. So that's why I've knocked it down to 3. But Billy Crystal, the best. Talk about fuckability. I said Eddie Murphy was fuckable. Billy Crystal's fuckable in this movie. The lines are great. Carrie Fisher's amazing. Bruno Kirby and Meg Ryan. For me, that was my ideal. As a young child, I wanted to fall in love like a mid-30 divorcee in New York who shops at sharper image and tucks his button downs into his jeans. Rob Reiner and Nora Ephron kind of combining to make this film have both sides represented. Like, no one is perfect, no one is unattainable. They are both flawed and they are wonderful, and it feels like the perfect pairing. I think every perfect pairing, there's no such thing as like, oh, I love you and forever we will never argue. That this is a couple that what makes them great are their differences. I just love it. Number 2, here we go, people. Harold Ramis's Groundhog Day. Is it a rom-com? You bet your ass it's a rom-com. We're going back over the same day. Now, I know everyone else has stolen this. We've done it with action movies. We've done it time and time again, but Groundhog Day is where it's at. Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, this partnership broke them up. I think Bill Murray wanted the movie to be a lot more philosophical. Harold Ramis wanted the movie to be more comedic, but I think what they realized, or what they created, was something that is timeless. It's universal. It's a fairy tale that makes you think deeply about what life is, but not be depressed by it. Chris Elliott, who I love in everything he does, but here gives just one of those performances where every time he pops in, it's just absolutely great. Stephen Tobolowsky, hey, Ned Ryerson. Well, he doesn't say hey, he's saying to himself, hey, I'm Ned Ryerson. Anyway, you know the deal. Groundhog Day, you can't get better than that. You got ice sculptures, got piano playing, and this is the movie that started it all. And finally, number 1, this is a tricky one, but I feel like it's the one that most people agree upon, and maybe you're thinking, oh, is it Clueless? Clueless is great. Probably should have been on this list. But no, I'm going with something a little bit more universal, a little less trapped in time, because I think some of these movies that I've talked about are all ageless to a certain extent. I'm going to go with a film that I think is truly timeless, and my number 1 pick, Princess Bride. It is a fairy tale, and it's a beautiful fairy tale, and Carrie Elways is just wonderful in this movie. Robin Wright Penn is absolutely stunning and funny and interesting. You have Andre the Giant, you have Wallace Shawn, you have Peter Falk, and Fred Savage. People have done live reads. People have done a recreation of it. We've seen every version of this, but go back and watch the original. It can't be beat. It is still a movie that I think holds up. As I showed it to my 6-year-old, and they were excited by the action. They fell in love with these characters. And I think that that's like important. There are so few films that you can watch with your family that are so interesting and fun, and I think can move you in a way that I believe that Princess Bride might be the most universal rom-com love story that everyone in the family will walk away going like, oh, I feel something. And that's what we all want, right? The truth is this: love is weird. Our relationships have ups and downs, and these movies capture the imperfect couples so well. So these are my 12 best rom-coms. No one's going to disagree with me. I can guarantee it because I've done it perfectly. And if you have any suggestions of what I missed, you will be wrong, but please put them in the comments and keep on liking and subscribing and getting on here. If you haven't seen any of these movies, I want to know what your first reaction is when you watch them. So let me know. I'm Paul Scheer, and those are the 12 best rom-coms.